Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Minions of the Zoo. I am your host, Johnny Hellcat, and with me today are minions Hey Camel
Good evening.
and Terry Diamantis.
Hello.
How you doing, fellas?
Doing all right.
I'm tired. I didn't get much sleep.
Yeah, it sounded like you had an episode of Jerry Springer going on.
Yep. I don't know what they were saying because it was too muffled, but lots of shouting. About 2, 3 in the morning, they finally stopped. It's not fun.
Not an ideal time. That's the downside to apartment living.
Yep, it is.
Oh, I've had that happen to me before living in an apartment. I literally just opened my window. It's like, hey, some of us got to work in the morning. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, there's in the old apartment that I had, there was either fucking or fighting. One of the two was always going on.
Yeah. I don't even know who it is because there's like multiple sections to this building. It sounds like it's someone in the adjacent section, so I don't think it's like someone directly above or directly below me. I think they're kind of off to the side of it. So I don't know anyone in this building, but I especially don't know the people that aren't even in my section of the building. So I wouldn't know who to yell at.
So, what's the real estate market looking like down there?
I have no idea.
I mean, as far as you're probably not even interested in it, being said it is just you.
Yeah. I don't know. 7 years ago is when I sold the unit, apartment, whatever you want to call it, that I inherited. So 7 years ago, it was not great. I got less for it than I would have if I held on to it, but I wanted rid of the thing, so I sold it for slightly less. I have no idea what it's like now. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm not trying to buy anything.
Yeah. So I'll just pick a town in Australia. Let's go with Sydney, since that is the most known city.
Go look at Humpty Doo or Whack Whack or.
Yeah, man, I gotta imagine the real estate prices in Whack Whack are pretty low.
I would hope so.
Real estate in Whack Whack, Australia. Oh my goodness, it actually has it there. We couldn't find anything that fits your search.
Good.
But we found
Respace on the Monopoly board, man. There's nothing there. You just start from scratch.
Anything in the Northern Territory is probably going to be cheaper than like.
There's a place called Humpty Doo.
What's that?
There's a place called Humpty Doo.
Yeah. There's Wagga Wagga. There's another one. There's a lot of great names.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
What is like the? Is there any kind of meaning to that, or did you guys just make names based off of weird sounds?
So most of the really weird ones are Aboriginal names. So they do translate into something. I don't know what it is because I don't speak Aborigine, but they are like proper words in Aborigine. It's just that they sound ridiculous to people who are unfamiliar with the language.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't speak Aboriginal. They sound ridiculous to me too.
Let's see here. 119 real estate properties in Whack Whack NT.
I think I've got like $1.75 in pennies somewhere, like in a change jar. What can I get with that in Whack Whack, Johnny?
Let's take a look here. There is. Okay, you guys don't use acres, so square meters.
No, square kilometers.
How many different conversions are we going to do to translate this?
Okay, so we have 81,800 square meters.
I mean, that sounds like a lot.
That is 20 acres.
Okay.
Oh, okay, okay.
And it's 645,000 $2s.
Oh, wow. In
Wait,
Whack-Whack?
dollar dues? As in like Australian funny money?
This
Yeah.
is showing Herbert.
It's,
Okay, that's not
I
whack whack.
sold my property for 515,000, but that was 7 years ago, like I said.
All right, we want whack
And
whack.
their
We don't
money's
want.
like worth, what, like 3/4 of our money? So,
Thereabouts, yeah, 75%.
I mean, what is it, like, so $500,000 is what, like 275, something like that?
I guess I can't do it in my head, but it sounds about right. Yeah, 375.
375.
No, what is the abbreviation for NT? That's Northwest Territory.
What is the abbreviation? Sorry,
NT,
Northern Territory. Yeah.
Northern Territory. Okay. I guess that would be NW then. In that case.
Northern Territory is pretty sparsely populated, so I'm surprised that it costs that much for anything in Northern Territory. Especially if you like whack. That should be
Now,
cheap.
now, I guess the question is, why is whack whack a barren
Why is
wasteland? I guess would
population
be
zero?
the.
Yeah, I'm assuming that it's just like somewhere that people work. They don't live there. Like they live in a town nearby and they just go to work for their job or something. I don't know. But the official population is 0, which is funny.
Let's see here. Search whack whack NT Australia.
I have not checked my emails in a long time. I just opened it up by mistake. Like, oh shit.
Whack Whack is a locality in the Northern Territory of Australia, located 55 kilometers east of the territory capital of Darwin.
Mm-hmm.
The
Darwin
locality
is the
named it,
capital of the territory, yes.
yeah, for the word for crow. And I will share this in the actual screen here. That's about as welcoming as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Here, look at my skulls.
That is a nice assortment.
I mean, you're not wrong.
So, that's at Whack Whack?
That is Whack Whack. And everyone knows Whack Whack also for their gator fishing. I guess that'd be a croc fishing. So
I've had gator tail. It was alright. But I don't feel like fishing for them.
yeah, who doesn't catch their own crocs? Let's see here. Here's a. What the heck's an HA?
Hector, maybe?
Oh. Yeah, it could be. HA measurement. Hectare.
Yeah.
Metric unit equals square 100 meters or 10,000 square meters. Okay.
Yes, this is going to get very complicated if we've got to convert from hectares to acres.
Oh, God damn it. One hectare is equal to 2.47 acres.
There you go. So just round it up to 2.5. Just to make things so much easier for everyone.
So I guess, oh my God, just do the math like everything else is doing.
Good.
All right, there we go. That is 67.5. Well, that doesn't seem like it. That doesn't seem right. 166,796 acres.
That's a lot of acres.
That is a lot of acreage.
What was that number again?
166,796.1325125.
Acres?
Acres.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of ground to cover.
That is apparently on sale in Dorisvale Station. And there is no price on it, so I am wondering.
Good.
Oh, it's a population of 9.
Oh, they found some people to move in.
You can have your neighbor. Hey, Prime Minister.
Good. Andy.
Oh, here's a land in Humpty Doo.
Yeah. Good old Humpty Doo.
Yeah, this is 1,295,000 in Herbert. That's a bit much. I'm not finding anything actually in Whack Whack. There's nothing there.
I don't think we will. I think it's too remote. I think it's too obscure. People won't know what it is.
Like, the land must suck. Like, if it's like, you couldn't grow shit if like, unless you really wanted to spend the time doing it.
I think the Northern Territory is pretty arid. Like, I think it's pretty dry in San Diego. I've never been, so this is just from what I've heard.
Yeah, I don't think Tears joining there. Frosted. Yeah, and I don't think I can show that picture either. Yeah, it's even expensive down there. 28 Eric Crescent in Woodgate Beach, Northern Territory. 240,000 for 4,010 square meters.
See, that's more in line with what I was expecting. A couple $100,000, not 600 like you were saying before.
Yeah, that still seems like a bit much.
Oh yeah, it is, especially because it's going to be in the middle of nowhere. And it doesn't have any like amenities or anything of convenience. But that's why I was expecting it to be way less than 500,600,000.
Let's go back to that Hager one, because this one. Let's see if this is the same one. 675. So that is a small town.
Oh, you can actually buy the whole town for $600,000.
Well, at least from what they're showing, it is 166,000 166,000 acres.
Yeah, that's got to be a town. Like, that's not one property, surely.
Yeah. That's way too big. Like, I mean,
Pound.
I would be
Pound of that.
I would be okay with that. Like, don't get me wrong.
Good.
Population me. Like,
Frosted says he did a Google image search on Whack, and all he saw was a map of the territory and photos of crocodiles.
that's pretty much all I saw.
It turns out that a lot of Australia is a desert.
Yeah, 700,000 for 8 hectares.
Hectares, yeah.
Which is about 20 acres. You know, that's...
I don't think cameramen have made it out of Whack alive.
And here's 21 hectares for 185,000.
Yeah. That sounds more in line with what I was expecting.
That's 51.89 acres. Like, I would almost move for that.
But since it's in the title, thoughts on the naughty Jackbox pack?
I don't know anything about it. What's going on?
So they've gotten feedback that people want a adults-only version of Jackbox, and so they said, "All right," and they're making one. I'm skeptical. I'm not expecting it to be good. I think it's going to be. It's either going to be trying too hard to be edgy, or it's going to be so inoffensive that there's no reason to call it adults only.
Jackbox Naughty Pack is an M-rated entry in the party game series.
I'm
Adults
pretty sure
only.
it's not going to actually be offensive in the slightest.
I highly doubt it.
It's going to be like, what's a funny name for boobs? Aren't we edgy?
Yeah. I mean, it's fine as it is as far as what they have. Like, I think that's up to the player to make it, to take it to that level.
But also, it's not funny if the prompt is suggestive. Like, if the prompt is, what is your favorite racial slur for Mexicans, then just saying a slur isn't going to be funny. It's just going to be like answering the prompt. Whereas if, name a leisure centre and you say the wetbacks pool, then it's like, okay, there's like something there. You can't have the prompt telling you to be offensive and then you just being offensive. That doesn't really work.
Yeah. Well, it's like the regular prompt, say, like, for example, like, what's your thought on Katy Perry?
Yeah.
Like, that right there, you can take it pretty much wherever you want to go.
Yeah. And then the naughty version will be something like, what's your opinion of, and then it'll be like, dildos. Oh.
Yeah, I without any, and I read like most of the article, it doesn't even sound like they even have an idea of what they're doing. And yeah, let's see here. Details about the included games are withheld for now, but TT teases quote unquote spicy surprises and maybe some familiar faces.
In other words, Quiplash, Fibbage, Drawful.
You don't know Jack?
Maybe. I think they'll go with Fibbage for the trivia game. I don't think they'll go, you don't know Jack. They might, but I think Fibbage is more
Well,
it lends
I
itself
think,
to the adult theme better.
yeah, I think it'll be probably a mixture. Well, it could be. I wouldn't say a mixture of both, but it'll be one or the other. Like
Yeah,
it's
the reason I picked those games, I think those are the most popular, and I also made sure you've got one like social game, one trivia game, and one drawing game.
yeah.
I think that is going to be the three. Now, they may have additional ones because usually the party packs are 5 games, so they might have 2 other random weirdo games, but I think those 3 are pretty much guaranteed. I'd be surprised if any of those 3 don't make it.
Quick games based off of other intellectual properties.
Yeah.
Because that's how it seems to go. Like push the button, for example. That one seems to be.
Yeah, I remember push the button.
Yeah, that one seems kind of very Among Us type.
I do enjoy those games, but they only really work if you actually play them properly. Like with a group like ours, where everyone's shitposting, they don't really
Yeah.
make sense. But yeah, if you're a group that takes these games a bit more seriously, I could see them being interesting and fun. But ours is the wrong group for games like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's definitely.
Because if they really wanted to be edgy, I would like to see Trivia Murder Party, but instead of threatening to kill you, he's threatening to rape you. There you go. I just made it edgy.
Or at least like the kind of jokes where it kind of leads you to believe that. That would be kind of funny.
But they're not going to do that. There's
Oh.
no chance in hell
Yeah.
they're going to make rape jokes in the naughty pack.
Episode of, like job where they send you to HR just for doing the interview.
And Frosted says, I hope they make a version of Job where the goal is to avoid hiring the black people. See, we're funnier and more offensive than they are. We don't need their naughty pack.
We are the naughty pack.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you want games, Jackbox? You hire us. We'll test your games for you.
Yep.
Although I'm pretty sure that they have their PG times and then they have their off-camera.
Yeah.
You know, they go just as hard as we do on some of those games.
I mean, the whole point is that the prompts are open-ended, so you can basically take it in whatever direction you want. Like, if I was playing with my mum and siblings, my answers would be very different than they are when I'm playing with you guys.
It is so difficult playing with my family. Like, because we'll start playing and then I'll type out an answer and I'm like, no, I can't use that one. Just like back it up.
Mm-hmm. You have to give enough of that choose.
On the Titanic, yeah. Now that one's already enough about that one's close enough to Titanic.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what other games are in the... Because I'm pretty sure Survive the Internet is never coming back. From what I can tell, people didn't like that. That was too confusing.
Survive the Internet was too confusing?
I'm pretty sure, because I'm... Like, you know how they bring back the popular games? Like, there's like 3 different fibbages now? They're never bringing Survive the Internet back. I think...
That's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, it's the best one, but I don't think to borrow an internet phrase, the normies, I don't think they like it. I don't think they get it. So something like Fibbage is very safe, something like Quiplash. If they do Monster Seeking Monster, if they bring that back for some reason, that would be hilarious. For the naughty pack, where you're doing more than just romancing the monsters, I guess.
Yeah.
Survive the internet, but you have to avoid the FBI planting CP on the computer.
Let's see here. So yeah, they'll.
He means children's parties. CP is children's parties. That's what we're worried about. It's okay. You don't have to ban us.
And yeah, so they'll announce in the summer, you know, what's going to come. So chances are it'll be around October when it's actually released. Like every other party pack, every other year.
I'll check out the store page once it comes out and see if there's any games that actually seem interesting. But my expectations are low. I haven't liked any of the party packs for a while now. It's been like 4 or 5 since they've had a good one.
One of the comments I hear, Jackbox is supposed to be a family game? I've been playing it wrong?
Yeah, never really had a family game night or anything like that. So all games are pretty well.
I have tried to get my my family on board with it because usually I know that my cousins might get into it, but my immediate family is kind of mad with it. I know that just for the fact that my sister's like, I don't like video games. I'm like, well, it's not really a video game. It's more like it's like a video board game, if anything.
It's more like I mean, I was going to say a party game, but that's a fairly useless description. But it's like a parlor game. It's like charades kind of thing. Or like,
it's essentially it's a board game with a digital board.
Yeah,
really.
It's an excuse to spend time with your friends. No one's really keeping score. Like, I know the game does, but no one actually cares who wins. It's just about spending time with your friends and goofing off and
telling jokes.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for that. But that's why I don't think like the naughty pack really adds anything. Like, you can already be as naughty as you want, or as innocent as you want. Like I could play Jackbox with my 2-year-old nephew. I mean, and like none of the content would be inappropriate, really. He wouldn't understand what's going on, of course. But the point is, like, all the content is safe for kids, unless you decide to put in content that is not.
Yeah. Now, it would be funny to do like a PG-13 challenge. To where you have to be as clean as possible, yet still try to be funny.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying it definitely would be a challenge, but it wouldn't be impossible.
No, not impossible. There's plenty of clean comedians out there.
Yeah.
Like even back in Party Pack 1, the racy as you want to be, fill in the blank word game, word spun. So even back then they were trying to sell it as like, ooh, you get to be spicy.
Yeah. I haven't really played that one enough to kind of really overly enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I actually owned the first 2 party packs because they actually had single player games back then.
I know I played it with 6 when he was doing his thing. Way back when.
No, I mean, I've played all the Jackbox games except Faking It, because that doesn't work over the internet at all.
Yeah. As we have tried.
We've tried, and it's not built for it.
No.
That's a game you have to be in person.
In person or on camera, because yeah, that's not a
Yeah,
anonymous game.
you could hit the escape button to pause it, and then everyone. But even then, it would be awkward. Like, you're like, who are you pointing at? And then, but then whoever you ask first has a disadvantage because, like, the imposter could, like, if the imposter got asked last, he could just, oh yeah, everyone else is pointing at Camel. I'm going to point at Camel too. Whereas if it was real time, then you would be able to do that. So there would be a way to make it work, but it would be fairly convoluted and complex. Probably not worth the effort.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I agree with Frosted. The new Jackbox will probably be like Cards Against Humanity, less fun because the game is dirty for you. And yeah, like if your prompt is like a bigger, blacker dick, then like that's already, you know, edgy. You don't need to add anything yourself. It does take the fun out of it.
Yeah.
I don't like Cards Against Humanity just because it's quiplash, except you don't get to write your own answers. Like you have to use whatever shitty answers are on the cards in front of you.
Yeah.
Well, just quiplash is better. You write whatever funny answer comes to mind. You don't need
Like-
the card.
Like I don't mind it, but it doesn't have the like you said that factor where you're making the answer rather than telling someone else's joke. Really.
But also, I mean, what if none of the cards in your hand are appropriate for the prompt you get? Like, I mean, what do you do then? You're screwed. Whereas in Quiplash, you can just write an appropriate response to the prompt. You don't need to worry about it.
Well, and then like you fumbling through cards to try and find an answer, and I know that they do have blank cards for Cards Against Humanity, but that's only if you happen to have one.
But even then, at that point, you're playing Quiplash. At its best, when you get a blank card, it is as good as Quiplash. Why not just play Quiplash?
Yeah.
Cute. I don't know enough about the thing to talk about Frosted's idea, but he says John Carpenter should team up with Among Us to make a version based on the thing. As I understand it, that would be a pretty good fit, but I've not seen the movie, so I cannot really go into any detail as to how good it would be.
Yeah, that's it is a really good horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, everyone I've heard talk about it has spoken positively about it.
Cheese, but yeah, it's still good. Practical effects are always a plus in those kind of movies.
It's more impressive that they were able to do that with practical effects. Like, if you see something and it's just like, well, yeah, computer did it, that's a lot less exciting.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, the thing is like a shapeshifter, and it impersonates the members of the group, and then the whole point is that you've got to be suspicious of everyone, kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, I feel a sneeze coming on. It's just right there on the tip of the nose. Okay. Sure, I get it.
Do they have horror movies based on the other Fantastic Four members? Is there a movie about Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman and Human Torch to go with the theme?
Well, I mean, they do have a movie called Firestarter, and there's a movie about the Invisible Man.
I'm on board. You could make that into like a movie night. You could, find a horror movie based on all 4 members of the Fantastic Four, and then
I don't know. I don't know any movies that would correlate for Mr. Fantastic though.
yeah, I don't either off the top of my head, but I mean, I'm sure there are some horror movies about someone with stretchy limbs, or even someone whose limbs get stretched during the movie. That would work as a proxy for Mr. Fantastic.
I'm sure there's something there, but I'm just drawing a blank at the moment. It'll probably come to me later.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And Rotten Corpse, I'm pretty sure you're right that John Carpenter rebooted the thing. That was not his original.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the original movie was from the 50s.
Something like that, yeah. Long time ago.
And then, like 10 years ago or so, they rebooted his reboot.
Really?
Yeah, with Mary Elizabeth Winstead was the main character, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So I'm guessing the thing just kills everyone. That's like its thing.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a long time since I saw the one with the.
Like I know that
Carpenter and
like,
Russell and everything.
shapeshifts. I know that it shapeshifts into like people, but I'm
Yeah,
guessing
I believe it attacks, kills, and then shapeshifts into that thing.
Okay.
What shape shifts?
The thing.
Ah,
We were talking about the movie. I haven't seen it, and I was just asking if the thing. I know it shapeshifts, but does it like kill people? Is it like that the whole point of it?
yep. And the thing, it offs people.
Fair enough. That's kind of what I expected.
Horror classic, that.
Yeah, everyone I've heard speak about the movie has spoken positively about it. I've never heard anyone say they hate the movie.
Because it does a lot of movies when they have, oh yeah, this thing hunts and kills people, they don't give it enough time to build the creepiness. The thing gets that creepiness build before it goes, oh yeah, things are dying.
Okay. And
So it's more about actual horror than just, oh, look at this graphic way that someone died.
well, that's good. I prefer that. And Frosted is saying that the new The Thing is a prequel to the old The Thing, and that's got to get confusing.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the old thing.
Oh, it's a prequel, not a reboot. Okay.
Yeah. So
Why?
We were talking about the one John Carpenter made, but then I think Camel said that they made a new one, and apparently it's a prequel, not a reboot. So
Wasn't it just also called The Thing? I mean,
that's what
fucking
Frosted is saying.
confusing.
Frosted is saying the prequel to The Thing is The Thing.
They can't even be original when it comes to screen
In the same
fucking
way
titles.
in the same way that the first and ninth games are both called Mortal Kombat. Because fuck you, that's why.
Yep. It's kind of like how I get annoyed with Die Hard. Die Hard was doing it right originally. Die Hard had Die Hard 2, which it then had a subtitle. Die Hard 3, it had a subtitle. Then was it Die Hard 4 or Die Hard 5? That way,
Die Hard 4.
Nope, we have a different title now. It was
Die
Die,
Hard
Hard
4
4
was
that started
Live
the
Free
different
or
titles.
Live Free or Die Hard.
Yep. And that's when they fucked it up. If you're going to go for numbers, stick with numbers. You can have your subtitles, but stick with numbers. If you're going to go with the different names, then go with different names throughout the entire thing.
I'm
Go-
going to disagree. I'm going to say go with numbers.
I would agree. I prefer numbers, but I'm saying that if you're going for names,
Fair
then
enough.
I can deal with you having names throughout. The one that I hate is when we're going to start with names and then go to numbers, or we're going to start with numbers and go to names. No.
Yeah.
Same throughout. Once you make your first one, you've set the trend.
Yes. No, I agree with that. But do you know what the 12th Mortal Kombat game is called?
What?
Mortal Kombat 1.
And I'm assuming it wasn't like Final Fantasy, where it was, or Mario. Those are the two games that also have out-of-order numbers when you look at US versus JP.
Oh no, there's nothing like that. It's just the NetherRealm Studios are retarded, and they had like different names. Like there was Mortal Kombat 1 to Mortal Kombat Trilogy, you know, and then they had like Deadly Alliance, and like they had names for a while, and then Mortal Kombat 9 comes along, but it's called Mortal Kombat 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was Mortal Kombat X, Mortal Kombat 11, and then Mortal Kombat 1.
And the reason why it's called 1, story-wise, is because at the end of it's a reboot essentially.
Yeah.
And so, they're like, we can start from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
No, fuck you.
why?
If you're going to do a reboot like that, then you have to have something in the name that signifies it's a reboot.
No, I agree. I mean, plus just calling Mortal Kombat 1 as the 12th game in the series, like, that is just retarded. That makes zero sense.
Yeah.
Like, why not just Mortal Kombat Reboot at that point?
Yeah.
At least then you know what game you're talking about when you say Mortal Kombat 1.
Like, why are you starting to play that now? It's like 30 years old.
Yeah, exactly. I do own Mortal Kombat 1, as in the most recent one, the 12th game in the series. I've never played it, but it was 60% off, so I was like, alright, if I'm paying 40% of sticker price, I'll get it.
See, what they should have done for a reboot is Mortal Kombat Restart.
There you go, that would be fine.
Right.
Because then that is something that signifies it's a reboot. Also, it kind of plays off the normal, you're doing the arcade mode and you've gotten up to a certain point, you've died, would you like to restart?
But instead of restart, they went with retard. So that was a failure.
Why is this guy on the screen, Johnny?
Oh, I was waiting for that part of the conversation then. I saw Frosted tweet this out, because this is one of the flashback movies. It's like, well, what movie is this from? Is this still from?
That's from Predator.
That's what I was thinking.
That's Billy.
Frosted's
That is
answer.
a god-awful wig.
Frosted's answer was Fern Gully, the Last Rainforest.
Yeah, that guy was a pain in the ass for the production of that movie. Just kept getting drunk and getting into fights with locals.
Wow, can you believe I've actually seen a movie that apparently Frosted has not? I have seen the original Predator.
Oh, wow.
I mean, only once, and only because my friend at work, he would lend me DVDs because he would get offended that I hadn't seen certain movies. He was like, you what? I'm bringing you the DVD. You're going to watch it this weekend. All right.
Yeah,
I've seen Predator 2, though.
I haven't seen that one. I've seen the original. That's the only one. But yeah, that's the reason I saw Star Wars. Like the original trilogy, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and those ones. My friend was like, "You what? I'm bringing the DVDs in. You're watching it this weekend." Like,
Yeah.
no.
Though part of me is slightly worried that Terry, at some point in his life, when this says episode 4, I'm going to wait until I can watch everything up to episode 4 before I jump in the 4th part of the series.
If Star Wars was less famous, I would have. If I hadn't known going in that that's just the way they did it, I would have said, "Oh wait, where's episode 1?"
Yep. I need to make sure that I have the proper background. Let me watch 1 through 3, then I'll watch 4 through
Absolutely,
6.
no. I would. If I had not known, because Star Wars is like super famous, and everyone knows that it starts at episode 4. If I hadn't known that, I would have said, "Well, where's the first 3 episodes? I want to watch those first."
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Camel, guess which tribe Sonny Landham, or Billy in that matter, guess which tribe he's from?
Navajo?
No, he is actually half Cherokee and 1/8 Seminole. So he's an actual native. He's not Italian.
Yeah, there's one at least.
I like the way that you said he's actually native. Like, if he was Navajo, he wouldn't be.
No, that's fair.
Well, I mean, there's one guy, I can't remember. I was on at work, and they brought up the Navajo code talkers, and I just go, Choctaw, and like, and it was like, what? And I'm like, nothing.
Well, I mean, the Choctaw did it first.
It's not like the Navajo weren't there, but they get all the credit.
Well, the Navajo were used in World War II, and let's face it, that war got more press.
Yeah.
Frosted is saying that a friend of his says someone new to Star Wars should watch them in numerical order, and that baffles him. Honestly, if I was new to Star Wars, that's the order I would do it, just because there's numbers and it makes sense to do things in numerical order. Again, if Star Wars wasn't super famous, and I already knew.
You don't want to be confused by being dropped in media res, right?
Yeah. But no, I mean, if there's an order, I will typically do things in order. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I started with Final Fantasy VII, but when I got access to an emulator, I went back and played the first 6.
Even though that's one example where it does not matter at
No, I
all
know.
what the plot
No, the story-
of any of the other games is, unless
No, I know.
it's one
No.
of the handful that actually has a sequel.
No, I know, but because I liked Final Fantasy VII, when I got access to an emulator later on, I was like, okay, let's go find out what the rest of the series was like.
Yep. Yeah, I absolutely get that. I was just, because I've heard people do this is 7. What were the other games like? What more of the story is there in the other games? And I'm going, no.
Yeah.
You don't understand.
Yeah, they're all separate stories, except for when they do make direct sequels. But
Yeah.
each numbered title in the series is a unique story.
Yep. Which is how you end up with weird titles like Final Fantasy X-2.
Yeah. There's 3 different Final Fantasy 13s, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is so hilarious to me. There's Final Fantasy 13, 13-2, and Lightning's Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
There's I forget, that might not be the exact name, but there's something in that vein.
But yeah, again, if you number something, stick with numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lightning Returns.
If you're going to name them,
That's the
stick
one.
with names. I'm sick and tired of this. We're going to do numbers for a while, then we're going to names, then we're going back to numbers.
Yeah,
We're
no,
gonna go
that is needlessly
to numbers
confusing.
and names. Yeah.
It's the same with the Xbox. Calling their third console the Xbox One was just ridiculous.
Yep. Which is why everyone referred to it as the X-Bone.
Yes, that is true. Frosted says, how many people have played Grand Theft Auto 1 or 2? I actually haven't. I saw what they were like I saw previews and stuff and screenshots. Like, okay, they're different they're very different from 3 onwards, so it doesn't look like I would enjoy them. But
I remember a friend of mine had, I think it was 1 or 2. I can't quite remember because it was a while. It was way too long ago. But I remember one day afternoon he just goes, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "2 actually has a story."
yeah,
And I go, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, you don't just run around needlessly shooting things and running things over with your car. He's like, you actually do stuff."
Stories.
And he goes, "I'm like, you thought it was just, hey, let's get in a car and just run and shoot people?" And he goes, "Yeah." He's like, "I had no idea there was a story to it."
But even when there's no story, like the first Guitar Hero I ever played was 4, but then I went back and got 1, 2, and 3 because there's an order, there's numbers, so I wanted to see what the previous entries were like.
But yeah, I do like how a game that I know Terry and I have both played. Yakuza the main line is numbered.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they decided to make the newest version of Yakuza, the Yakuza Like a Dragon series,
Yeah.
they went with Yakuza Like a Dragon. That immediately signals it's not a mainline Yakuza. It is a different
Yeah. No, I've
story
got no
set
problem
in
with
the
that.
same world. And then when they did the sequel to that, it was also named rather than numbered, so there wasn't the confusion.
So what's the sequel called?
The sequel is, let me quickly double check because I just got it, I haven't played it yet. But it is Yakuza, and I need to go outside of my recent activity because again, I haven't played it, I've just purchased it. Why am I having trouble finding it? It is Yakuza Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Oh, so they do put Like a Dragon in the title and they have the
Yep.
subtitle. Okay, so that's fine. That makes it clear that it's part of the same series.
Yeah, it's Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. So
Okay,
it
yes.
signals that that is a continuation of the Like a
Like a
Dragon
Dragon.
story.
Yeah. No, I've got no problem with that naming system at all.
Oh yeah, and that's what I like about it, that it has this very clear, this is a different game, set in the same world,
Right.
but it's a different game.
Frosty says, imagine how many games you'd have to play to get up to speed if you wanted to do Warhammer 40k. Yeah, true.
Goddamn.
I played the first 5 Yakuzas. I've got Yakuza 6 installed, but it's been installed for like a year. And it's like other things have just come up and I've played those instead. But
Yeah,
you
the thing,
know, I'll get to it eventually, I'm sure.
Yakuza 6, if you are like me, because Yakuza 0, Yakuza 1, Yakuza 2
Mm-hmm.
were fantastic.
Yes.
Yakuza 3, immediate slog because it was going back to tank controls.
Well, I
And
think
then
the
I think
reason...
it's 5 or 6 is the return to the controls of 0, Kiwami 1, Kiwami 2.
Yeah. I was going to say that the reason is because the Kiwami games are actually remakes. So
Yep.
they're like, they couldn't, well, they could, but they didn't want to release the original Yakuza 1 and 2 because they wouldn't have held up by today's standards. So they remade them using the engine from 0.
Yep, or the engine from 6.
Well, okay, it's the same engine.
Yeah. But it
Um,
was 6 that I think was the first game with that engine. Was it 6? 5 or 6? I want to say it
5 or
was
6.
6.
But then when they got to 3, 4, and 5, then those were more recent games, so they just ported them directly. They didn't remake them.
Yeah, I still wish that they would go through a Kiwami remake of those.
Oh, for
Because,
sure.
like I
That's
said,
great.
the tank controls,
Yeah. No, I'm
they
100%
were
on board.
tough. And it's not tough because, oh, tank controls are difficult to use. No, it's tough because you're going, this is uncomfortable to play.
Well, especially because if you've played the better version, going back to the old
Yep.
one is like if this was your first experience, was the tank controls, you'd probably be mostly okay with it.
Yep.
But having experienced the better version, going back to the old one is rough.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I really like how they set up the entire Yakuza series and that entire world, because there's more games outside of the Yakuza mainline and the Like a Dragon series.
Oh, Yakuza is an amazing series. If anyone in chat has not played it, I strongly recommend it. It is an absolutely brilliant series.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, there's a bunch of other games set in the same series because there's what was it?
Is it Judgment or Justice?
Judgment Eyes. I want to say it was Judgment Eyes is the other game in that setting. Let me quickly check that.
Now, are those?
Judgment and Lost Judgment, I think it is. But
Well, guys, I'm starting to fade, and I got work.
Oh yeah, no worries.
I'm
right,
gonna dip on out.
All right.
I'll catch y'all later.
Yeah, catch you later.
Have a good night, man.
See it?
And Frosted is saying Yakuza has Jackie Chan in it, right? Yeah. You're getting better.
Yeah, it's Judgment and Lost Judgment. They're set in the same world, and they follow a different character, which again, I like the fact that they changed the name while
that was
then being consistent with their new naming.
That was actually one thing I didn't like of it. I think it was 4 and 5 at least. The introduction of the extra characters where you had like, I forget their names, but like Sayajima was like the big tanky guy, and like I just wanted to play what's his name, Kiryu.
Yep.
I didn't want to play the other guys. I still enjoyed the game, but I kind of like while I was playing, like is it Tanaka was like the slender guy?
I think so.
And then I forget the moneylender's name. It started with an A. But yeah, I didn't mind. Like I got used to them, but I wanted to play as Kiryu. Like he's like the reason that like he is Yakuza to me.
Yeah, you want to play as either Kiryu, or if you're going to play someone else, make it Majima.
Yeah, no, because the first one I played was Zero, so like yes, I did get to play as Majima in that. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I'm wanting to play as Kiryu. He's the main character to me. He's the only. He's the one I care about the most, I should say.
Yep. I just love Majima because he is an absolute mad bastard in the most glorious of fashions.
What I really like, I mean, I think I probably missed out on the context because it was my first one, but in Zero, actually seeing Majima go from like quite a sensible, like polite person to the absolute lunatic he is in the other games was really cool.
Yeah, and having it make sense every step of the way. It wasn't a, oh shit, why did he become this way? He was this very calm, collected person. No, you saw as he was going through that story, every step of the way where he was going, I need to relax, I need to just stop being predictable.
Yeah.
And he took that to fucking heart, and then you see him in later games, and you're going, yep, yeah, that, ooh.
I forget where I saw it, but someone said that the Yakuza series is the best real estate game ever.
Oh yeah. I love all the Yakuza property management minigames.
But not just that. You know, they was saying that the entire story is just about real estate. Which it kind of is. It's like
So-
there's the plot of land that they want to build the tower on, and everyone's fighting for who has the ownership of it.
Is that the one with the? I'm looking. These are all available on Steam, right?
Yeah.
Starting Yakuza, Kiwami,
Yep.
then
Yep.
0, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So in chronological order of when they take place in the story, it's 0, Kiwami 1, Kiwami 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then 7, which is Like a Dragon. It normally isn't called 7 outside of just trying to keep them in chronological. It's Like a Dragon, then Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. And if you want to include the Yakuza-like games that are not part of that main thread, then it's Like a Dragon Ishin. Then it's 0, 1, 2, then it's Judgment, right?
I haven't played the Judgment series. I own them, but I've never gotten around to playing them.
I want to say Judgment's in between 1, or in between 2 and 3. I could be wrong, but I want to say it's in between 2 and 3. And then I want to say it's 4, Lost Judgment, 5, 6, then Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
It's, yeah, I don't know the chronological order beyond, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So where all the other games fit in, I haven't played them, so I don't know. But yeah, no, I definitely recommend. I started with 0, but maybe Kiwami 1 would probably be a better starting point, because that's like the first game in the release order, so to speak.
Yeah, in the release order, it's in the release order of the versions that are available. It would be Kiwami 1, because 1 hasn't been released for PC, so it's Kiwami 1.
Yeah.
Kiwami 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. For the mainline games.
I keep forgetting the girl's name, the little girl that he adopts. But she was actually one of the few child characters that I enjoyed in a video game, because usually they're a pain in the ass.
But you actually liked her.
Yeah, she was actually like a really likable character, which is rare for a kid in a video game.
And the number of times that they make jokes involving her that fucking land because of how her character sells them.
Have a good night,
Probably
Frosty.
the best example is there's one point where they're talking about a whorehouse.
Yeah.
And they think that they're completely talking over her head, and then she asks what they're talking about, and they all start to stutter and stumble, and then she goes, no, I know it's a whorehouse.
Yeah.
And everyone has this, oh, thank God, wait, what?
Yeah, they actually have the collection of 7 on sale for $39.83
Yeah.
Nice.
And
instead
it
of
is-
$139.93.
It is well worth its full price, which means that it is an insane value for its sake.
Yeah, I mean, each game is like, depending on if you want to play it to 100% or not, like 100 hours easy.
Yeah. If you're trying to 100%, it is absolutely high 70s to 100 hours easy. If you're just playing to beat the game and do normal exploration, not 100%, but not just straight beeline either, then you're talking 50 to 70 hours.
Yeah, that sounds about right. If you kind of just like do things as they come up, you're not like avoiding the side quests, but you're not actively seeking them out. You just, if you happen to catch it, cool. If not, don't worry about it. Then 50 to 70 sounds about fair.
like I said, if you aren't just beelining the main quest, which I do like that the games do kind of have moments where it's, no, go have fun, go do things other than side quest, or other than the main quest. Find some side quests, dick around. Okay, now you can do it.
It's promotion ends May 6th. Okay.
It won't let you. There's also times where it won't let you do the side content. It's like, no. What is happening in the story? It doesn't make sense for you to go gallivanting off and playing slot races or doing Dance Dance Revolution. No. You're sticking this story beat out to the end.
Yep. And the times that it does each of those really makes sense in the story. It is justified in the narrative.
I do like it when they do something like that. Like, you essentially have to unlock your miscellaneous activity rather than just, I wonder why I can do this. Like,
yeah, it doesn't make sense if they're like, oh my god, the orphanage is on fire. You've got to get there right now. Oh, you could go bowling. Whatever you want, it's fine.
Yeah. But I like when they have the stripping down because, this is an immediate thing. But then when they have the, it's going to take a little bit for me to get this set up for you.
Yeah.
So, go find something to do.
Yeah, it'll be like...
It won't let you just skip ahead to the next part. You have to go do something in the side.
Yeah, they'll be like, you'll ask Sai the florist, can you look into this, see who it is? And then like, okay, but it'll take 24 hours. And so you've got that 24 hours where you have no choice but to do the side stuff because you can't continue the story until it... No. Now you can. Now you may proceed.
Yep. And like I said, it just...
Haruka was the girl's name that I was thinking of.
It just really works in the story when it does each of those. So you're never going, oh, come the fuck on, why is this? You're always going, oh yeah, this makes absolute sense.
You know what they do terribly? Saints Row. In Saints Row, they'll just say, okay, you had a bit of fun with the story mission. Now fuck off and do enough side missions to get credibility or whatever it is. Then you can continue the story. And like, there's no reason. It's just like, no, fuck you, do some side missions. We made them, you're gonna fucking play them.
Yeah. That always feels really jank.
Yes.
I remember like Grand Theft Auto 3, where you answer, like, it hints you to the first phone, like, random phone call. Mm-hmm. And then I just remember playing the rest of the game, and then my friends and I were getting drunk and just, playing how high can our wanted rating get, and then how long can we survive after that. And I remember I'm just like, I'm in the middle of a barrage of cops as we're trying to get through here, and I just bail from the car. Mm-hmm. With the drunken idea of, they'll just chase the car. And what ended up doing is they ended up driving me into a wall. And from there, I heard the phone ringing, and I'm like, are we supposed to answer that? And so I went back after the thing, and I'm just like, oh my god, there's missions here. Like, we were already done, like, long done with the game.
Yeah.
And so it's like, there's still shit we have. Like,
mm-hmm. But yeah, there's definite lulls where the game is saying, hey, go do some side quests. Like in 3, there's a point where it's, you haven't been around for a little bit, you've been dealing with shit. Spend some time with Haruka.
Yeah.
And again, it makes entire sense in the narrative.
Yeah. Of course. They're very good at making those things feel like part of the sequence of events. It's like, it makes sense. It all flows. It's sensible. It's not like, well, no, but I want to, like, well, of course you can't, go bowling. The orphanage is on fire. That's an emergency. You need to deal with that now. It makes sense that they don't let you go fuck around.
Yeah, it's like I said, that entire series is fantastic in how they handle everything. Because it is, the stories are compelling in the game. They balance in absolute fucking insanity with really hard-hitting stories that you actually fucking care about.
Yeah.
And
I cared about Haruka. The fact that the game made me care about a little kid in a video game, that takes skill.
yeah, and they do that constantly, and one of the ways that they do it is whenever there's a really tense moment, something silly is going to happen.
Yes.
And whenever there's just been unbridled silliness, something really tense is going to happen.
Yeah. But there's even like little tiny things that, like, you don't have to, but it's just nice that they're there. Like, if you walk slowly enough when it's like you and Haruka, she'll actually hold Kiryu's hand. Like, if you, like, they didn't need to code that in the game. Like, so they could have just had it be a normal follower NPC that just stays, 2 feet behind you. But no, if you go slow enough, like if you're sprinting, she can't keep up. But if you're just walking slowly, she'll actually hold your hand. It's like, that's kind of a nice touch that they.
It's very cute.
Yeah, and it adds personality to both the characters. It shows the relationship between them without making it explicit. Just the fact that he's the guardian is made clear by something as simple as her holding his hand.
Yep, and the fact that in a good chunk of them they've hidden things in that where. Like spending a certain amount of time walking around with Haruka while holding hands in, I want to say, most of the game, or at least 1, 2, and 3, there's a bonus to the connection between Kiryu and Haruka, which is one of the things that's tracked in the game. You get that little boost in it. It's not a hell of a lot, but it's enough that you go... This makes sense. This feels really fucking nice.
Well, yeah, especially when it's something that happens authentically rather than feeling like it's forced.
And that's the thing about the games. They do an immaculate job of making moments feel earned.
Well,
it isn't.
Listen up, Western developers.
Yes.
It isn't just. Well, the game clearly wants you to feel this way towards the person.
But even something as simple as, like, I forget which game it is, but in one of them, you can send money back to the orphanage.
I think that's probably 3. It's either 3 or 4.
But, like, it makes sense for Kiryu to be doing this because it's like he wants the kids in the orphanage to, be okay in his absence. So he's, like, caring for them as best he can without being there. And it's like, the fact that that's in there is just like, it shows part of Kiryu's personality without explicitly hitting you over the head with it. It's there as characterization.
All right, you guys have me sold on the game.
Yeah, another... This is something that might sell you even more on it, but it's just because this game is so much... I love this series so much that I just want to geek about it for a little bit, and I know Terry can geek with me about it. The way that you find out that Kiryu's kind of shy and extremely modest isn't people going, by the way, Kiryu is extremely shy and modest. No, you see that in how he interacts with every female character. That he interacts with, and at the very beginning of one of the games, you see it just when he's unconsciously flirting with someone. He's kind of meaning to, but he doesn't think that she's interested in him, so he's not really intending to flirt. And she's interested in him, but he's too dense of a motherfucker to figure out that she's interested in him.
Yeah.
So there's this very cute, flirting between the two.
Or
And-
even like you can go on dates with the workers at those maid cafes,
Yep,
and like you can see very clearly in his interactions with those women how
Yep.
like awkward he is around women.
yeah, he's very awkward, very earnest. It's very sweet and innocent when it comes to relationships.
Yeah,
And then you have other characters that are clearly not.
yeah. It's
And
very
it works
very well
so
written.
well. Yeah. And again, it isn't they have to tell you explicitly that this is what's going on.
Right.
They trust you enough that they'll go, we're going to tell you a story. We're going to trust you to understand the story that we're telling.
Yeah.
We're hoping you're not absolutely retarded,
Yeah. And
aka American.
it works beautifully. And also, there have been some issues with the localization of some of the games. But on the whole, most of the localizations are pretty damn good. And
I heard that what's his face Yong Ye or something did Kiryu's voice in like the English dub, and everyone hated it. So,
yep.
but I'm pretty sure you can just put it back to the Japanese dubbing and it's fine.
Oh yeah, you can swap to the Japanese in all the games, if I remember correctly.
Well, I've only ever played it with the Japanese voices. I don't think most of them even had an option to change it.
I know, or at the very least, 1, 2, 3 don't. I can't remember if 0 did.
0 didn't. 0 was the first one I played, and I looked for that option.
Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3 didn't have that option. I know that there's the option in Like a Dragon.
Yeah,
But-
okay, but I haven't played those ones.
And
But the mainline Yakuza series, you can't. It has to be Japanese for the ones I've played.
yeah, and the voice acting in Like a Dragon was pretty damn good. But like I said, there have been some issues with localization when it comes to the translations that they put up in the speech blocks. But even those, the company has been very receptive and has gone back and fixed the worst of those. But they do keep, when most of the localization happens, it is true to what is being said in a way that makes sense. So
Right.
if they're using Japanese slang, they'll be using American or Western slang.
Well, that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah. Which is one of the nice things that some games, they end up either just ignoring the fact that they're using slang and they do a direct meaning translation,
that never
or
works.
yeah,
I don't know why that brought it up, but have you guys played Breath of Fire 3?
Which one?
I have not.
This one was for the PlayStation, I think.
What game did you say? Sorry.
Breath of Fire 3.
Oh, I know I played one of the games in Breath of Fire, but if it's on the PlayStation, I didn't play that one.
Yeah, that one actually they had because you were talking about dialects, and my immediate thought went to dolphin for when you unlock the ferries to build the fairy town that's there, and the dolphin that's there. He acts all like cute and sweet when the whole thing starts, but then when like the fairies aren't watching, or when the girls aren't watching, like he turns around and he spits water on Ryu, and you're like, what the fuck's going on with this dolphin? And then like when the fairies get involved, because they're talking about this monster, and so they just go down to search as to what's going on with the monster. All they see is this dolphin, and so they're like, "Oh yeah, it's just this dolphin." And then it's later realized that the dolphin is, of course, the monster because he's the one who's been eating the fairies.
He's an asshole.
Yeah. And he goes from this, like, oh, gee, I'm just trying to, make good with the girls here. And then when he gets found out, he turns into an Aussie. Mm-hmm. And they actually go through this whole thing where he just has this whole dialect. And then they go black screen, like, once he's done. And they go back, and they're like, here's an English translation for you, for anyone who doesn't understand the thing. And he's like, oh, you tosser! Like, how it starts off like that. And then it just goes back, and it's like, hey, I'm very disappointed in you. Like,
nice.
It's just a complete, like, translation, just because, like, I mean, clearly you can kind of understand with a couple of, like, slang terms that are thrown in there, but yeah, he just completely berates this guy with Australian language, and then it stops and he goes, and here's a translation for those of our audience that don't speak with an Aussie dialect, and it goes back and it's very American in how they're talking.
See, now I'm just imagining that the reason why Terry never played the game was it was immediately banned in Australia.
I wouldn't be surprised. Everything gets banned here.
How dare they insult us?
Yeah.
I actually have a game installed on my PC that is banned in Australia. I managed to get it before the ban went down. So,
which one?
The Coffin of Andy and Lele.
Ah, yep.
I haven't played it.
That game became rather infamous.
I haven't played it, but V was talking about it, and I thought, you know what? It sounds pretty cool. I'll buy it. And then a little bit after I bought it, oh, by the way, you know that game you just bought? Yeah, banned. Yeah. If you go to the store page in Australia, it says, not available in your region.
Yep.
I got in. I got in time.
Oh, that's
so do you
interesting.
want to explain that game for those who aren't familiar with it, or do you want me to, Terry?
I haven't played it, so all I know is that it's like a walking simulator, but it's like edgelord walking simulator where there's cannibalism and stuff.
So it's a RPG of sorts, not like a combat RPG for the most part. But yeah, it's going through this story that is rather dark and fucked up, and it's meant to be dark and fucked up.
Yeah.
That includes cannibalism, incest, and pretty much any crime that people would go, oh, what the fuck? But it's trying to make you like the characters that are engaging in it.
Andy and Lele are siblings, right? And they end up in a relationship.
Yep.
Let's see here.
That's the bit I remember hearing about. Someone, probably V, mentioned that they're siblings and they end up hooking up together.
The Coffin of Andy and Lele is a psychological horror game developed by Namlay and published by Kit9 Studios for Microsoft Windows. The game originated as a demo released on itchy.io, whatever that is, and was later expanded and released on Steam in early access state. The current version of the game features 2 of 4 planned episodes, the latter 2 which are currently in development. The plot follows siblings Andrew and Ashley Graves, who find themselves in a codependent relationship with one another as they commit various crimes while trying to survive a dystopian world. Let's see here. It's presented from a top-down perspective in which the players, playing a sibling protagonist, Andrew and Ashley Graves, explore the environment to solve puzzles and to advance the narrative. At times, the player is asked to make a choice which may change the direction of the game's story.
Mm-hmm.
Gee, it sounds pretty innocent from there.
Yeah. One thing that does annoy me is V will call it the coffin of Ashley and Lele. So apparently Andy just doesn't warrant mention.
Nice.
He's just like Ashley and also Ashley, I guess.
The coffin of the two Ashleys.
Yeah.
Maybe he prefers that when he's thinking about the other incidents in the story.
Ah.
Because then wouldn't the parents kind of deserve it for naming both their daughters the same thing?
um, yeah, I haven't actually played it, so I don't know anything beyond its reputation for being like dark.
Yeah. It's a dark story that has fucked up moments that's meant to be dark and fucked up. You aren't supposed... Well, it's, again, kind of strange because you're supposed to be kind of revolted by the actions that they take, but also kind of like the characters.
Is this one of those things where it's like, you know, the characters are horrible people and those are your protagonists?
You know that the characters are doing fucked up things. You know that you should dislike the characters because they're doing fucked up things. But you're going, they're really charismatic, though.
Oh, we lost Terry.
But yeah, it's meant to be they're really charismatic. I kind of like them, despite knowing you shouldn't. You should be going, oh my god, these are horrendous people.
Oh, yeah, the Folgers coming home advertisement. It references that. Oh, that's pretty funny. Do you happen to know what that one is reference to? There, Sanguine?
Not off the top of my head.
There is a Folgers commercial where like he's went off exploring himself or whatever and comes back and they are uncomfortably close as it shows.
Okay.
Between when they come in, and then there's actually a parody sketch for it.
Nice.
Where she's just like, you know, there's a reason why we sent you away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I said, one of those games that it's meant to be you like the characters because they're charismatic and they are likable, but at the same time you're horrified by what they're doing. It's kind of like there's a book series that I've talked about a good number of times, but I'll mention it again, because it manages to do something that is ridiculously hard to do. It makes you like every character in the series that is one of the main group of characters, despite knowing that every single character has done something absolutely horrendous and doesn't really feel remorse for doing the absolutely horrendous act. Including, there's one character who you know has an interest in rather young women. If you understand where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
So, you're going, these are disgusting people. But throughout the story, because those are the characters that you're watching, those are the characters that you're hearing about the events through, you start rooting for those characters despite all the fucked up shit they've done and all the fucked up shit that they're into.
Welcome back.
And it's the Black Company.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It said my mic got unplugged. It seems fine. I'm assuming you can hear me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know why it kicked me, but there you go.
I actually did want to ask you, Terry. You probably have like all of the Hitman series.
All of the what?
The Hitman series.
Probably.
I looked at.
I was going to laugh if he responded with that. Never heard of it.
Well, I know he had heard of it at least.
Yeah.
But they have.
The
I've
Hitman series?
100% all the-
That sounds like a strange series. Are you just going around hitting people?
Only men.
Hitting men.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only hitting
kinda
men.
be-
That sounds rather misogynist.
Now,
No, misandrous. Really.
Misandrous, sorry. Misandrous. Yes.
now it had on there. Well, I mean, back I think it was when on the spring sale they had World of Assassination. Is that essentially like the whole group of Hitman shows?
Sort of. So, the World of Assassination is the reboot games. So, the ones since 2006 or whatever, whenever the new games came out, the one made by Square.
Yeah.
So, World of Assassination is those 3 games in that series. It wouldn't include Blood Money or Silent Assassin or
Contract.
Absolution or any of those stuff. It's just the 3 most recent games.
Oh, okay. So it's not the new one. It's not the older ones. It's the newer ones.
It's only the new ones. Yes.
Okay.
It's definitely. I mean, if the sale's already over, then it's too late. But
Yeah.
definitely worth. I do like all 3 games in the World of Assassination.
Because I played. I think they had the first one on the PlayStation, and I tried playing it, and I am so very awful in that. Like, I could probably stream it and just make it. I'd be dark side filling myself all over the place.
The first one, I believe, was
Without the
episodic.
masturbation.
Why would you end up talking about the Jews?
As I say, without the masturbation, but that's
No, which means that you're still talking about the Jews. You just aren't cranking.
So yeah, I believe the first game in the series in the World of Assassination was episodic. So you got the 2 training levels for free, but then you had to buy each individual level separately. And then once all 6 were out, they just said, "Okay, here's the entire pack of 6." But no, it's definitely worth getting. I absolutely loved all 3 games in the new 3.
yeah.
I even bought the DLC, which was like a couple of extra maps for the second game. No, definitely very, very good game.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because I remember downloading it, and I was playing it because I'm like Terry's suggested this game, so I'm gonna give it a shot. And I think I was trying to just kind of get a grip on how the controls were going,
Right.
and I ended up like just accidentally firing off a gun.
Oops.
Like in the middle of everyone. And so I'm like, well, this is going to get bad.
Yeah. It's
I'm like, I don't even know how I like aimed it at anyone. I didn't even push the button. Like, it's almost like the gun just went off.
it does one thing that I
was cleaning,
really
it just went
find cool, which is it's a stealth game, but it's not necessarily about sneaking. It's more about hiding in plain sight. So
Yeah.
if you want to go into the kitchen, you're not like hiding in the kitchen. You will disguise yourself as a waiter who is allowed to be in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a much more sensible approach. I find that a lot more engaging than constantly being, oh, fuck, if anyone sees me, I'm dead.
And
Yeah.
And it's not even really like you can play it either way, to where it's like you can go in run and gun, or you can go in kind of that stealth.
You can't run and gun.
Well, at least,
Not really.
at least as far as like the first games were, like if you got caught, you can still like
It's an
Oh, yeah.
option. It's
You can
just
still save
really
your
fucking
mission,
hard to do it.
but yeah, it just makes it a lot more difficult.
No. If you get spotted, then you can shoot your way out if it's like 1 or 2 people, but you can't run and gun the level, is what I'm saying.
Oh.
Like you have to play stealthy, even like be that as like just wearing disguises so you don't arouse suspicion. But if you do get caught somewhere that you're not supposed to be, if there's not very many people, like one or two, then you could kill them and hide the bodies and you'd be fine. But that's kind of a bailout for when you fuck up. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to run and gun. And it very much discourages you from doing it.
Because there was one that I can't remember which mission it was. I think it was the hotel infiltration one where you're walking in on the crime scene that's in there, and I played through it twice and failed, and
Yeah.
and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna run in and just run past everyone. Like, nope, I'll see myself in. Thank you. And then just go in, see if I can just get it done, and then run out. And, well, that didn't work either. But,
No.
long story short. But, yeah, I just ran in because I'm like, it's clear that I'm going to end up using a guide on this, but oh well.
But I do like that it gives you challenges in each level, and that if you complete them, you will unlock like mostly just cosmetics, but there's also slight game impact where you can actually acquire a new starting position in the level. So like you have to finish it the regular way first.
Yeah.
But once you've done that, you could say start in the kitchen already wearing a waiter's disguise, and it doesn't really make the game easier. It just saves you time, because if you've been able to finish the level the normal way, you know how to get in a waiter's disguise to get into the kitchen. It's just saving you the time of bothering to do that. But I do like that, and you can like unlock hidden like stashes. So you can be like, I'm gonna need a gun, but I don't. But there's gonna be like a guy patting me down. So if I hide it in the toilet in the bathroom, then I can go through the pat down and then just quickly duck to the bathroom and grab my gun, and I'm armed again.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember which game it was and who the reviewer was, but there was a rather infamous internet review of one of the Hitman games where the reviewer was bitching and moaning that in order to get a screwdriver in one level, you had to go through this whole routine of being able to find the screwdriver in the map and then get the screwdriver and then bring it all the way back to where you need to use it. And that's bullshit. You should just be able to use a screwdriver. And then,
but that's the whole game.
Yeah, it's the whole game. And everyone who had actually played the game immediately started ripping the piss out of the reviewer, because that is objectively the best way of solving that particular map is with that screwdriver. So if you made it so that you were just able to bring the screwdriver in without any work to do so, it would completely spoil the entire fucking point of the game, and it would ruin that entire level.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things I like about is you can actually choose your loadout going into the level. I don't think you can pick a screwdriver. I don't think that's one of the options.
Yeah, you can't, because a good chunk of the time, it's something small like that, a simple tool, that is objectively the best way of getting through a level. Because that one, it was like you unscrewed a particular screw on a bit of construction equipment, so that when it was in use, it broke and dropped its load on the person.
Yeah, but but like you can decide, I'm probably going to need a lockpick, so you can make that one of the two items that you bring with you into the level, because you're expecting there's going to be locked doors. Or you can be like, I'm doing a challenge where I want to use my my fiber wire to kill both the targets, so that'll be one of my items. Or you could bring a coin to distract people. You know, like you get to have some customization in what you bring into the level. So if you're trying to do something specific, then you can do that.
I will definitely say, though, even though I'm not really all that good at it, they are really fun games.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Especially with like the World of Assassination ones, because even like when you walk in, and I think if I'm remembering this correctly, you kind of walk in and you're like, huh, I have some options here, and then it's like one of them has like where the one of the models looks, you could look like one of the models that's there, so you can sneak in that way.
Yes.
You can go around to the outside with the wait staff and see about sneaking in that way, or you can go this other way and like
Yeah. The
steal a
the
key
Paris level,
card and get in that way. Yeah,
the Paris level, which is the one I think you're talking about,
yeah,
uh, is absolutely brilliant. They definitely made the right decision by having that be the first, like, not counting the training stages. That's like the first proper mission that you do, and it's really, really good. Um, if that was a bad mission, I probably wouldn't have been invested in the rest of the game. But they do start off very well with the Paris mission.
Yeah. The whole
Is that,
appeal of the game is that you constantly have these things that as you play the game, you learn.
yes,
And it allows you to do that mission better. Because the first time that you do the mission, unless you're following a guide, you don't know how everything's set up. You don't know where everything is. It's this, oh shit, what's going on? How do I do X, Y, Z? But then as you play, as you learn, you end up with this, oh, that's how I do this. Oh, that's where this is located on this level. So
yeah.
then you go back, you do the mission again, and suddenly you're doing a fuck ton better than you did the first time.
The other thing I like is that in the good levels, at least, there's always multiple ways to achieve a specific goal. So, like
Yep.
in the Paris level, one of the targets is on the top floor, and you could just throw your weapon somewhere and go through the pat down zones and be allowed up there completely fine. But you could also go climb the drain pipe on the outside of the building, or you could use the servant set it like the stairs, the servant stairs, and that doesn't get you all the way to the top floor, but it gets you up to the first one, and then you can like climb out the window and like climb up that way. So there's a lot of options for like how to get where you want to go, and like if you're trying to avoid someone, you can probably.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many options.
It's kind of like why people really like the Payday series.
Oh
Because
yeah, I've not played those.
the first time that you go through a map on Payday, you're going to suck dick.
Hmm.
You're going to do a horrendous job. You're going to trigger the guards. You're going to get everyone pissed off at you because you don't know where you're supposed to go. You don't know where all the guards are. You don't know where the important things to look out for are. But as you run that job again and again and again, you learn all the different layouts of that map. You learn every location that the guards can be. You learn every location that the important shit can be in. So you start to plan ahead. One of my favorite, or some of my favorite maps in the Payday games are the Shadow Raid, I want to say is the name of the map. In Shadow Raid, you cannot do that mission loud. If you go loud, you fail the mission. You just have to flee. Because you're attacking, or not attacking, but you're stealing from a military base. So if you go loud, the entire military is right there. You're fucked. You automatically lose. So what you end up having to do is you have to think through where the guards are, how you get to where you need to be. What are the barriers between you and there? How can you set up everything? And then once you get it down pat, once you've run that mission enough times at a difficulty that you know, okay, so this time there's a guard who's standing at the bottom of this ladder. That means these are the locations of all the guards on the map. Or there's no guard at the bottom of the ladder. So these are all the locations of the guards on the map. And you have to think through that every time, and you know where the guards are going to be. So you know the angle that you need to take the guards out and how you need to take the guards out. My best friends and I, or my best friends at the time, a good chunk of them no longer in a friend group with, but a number of us would be running that mission almost every night when we first got the game so that we could learn it. And by the end of it, we would 100% that mission every fucking time that we ran it. Because we knew how to get every scrap of anything in that map that could be grabbed. We knew exactly how to get it. And each of us had our jobs and knew exactly how to do our jobs.
Yeah.
So, like, my job in that was I would climb up onto the roof outside the fences. Then I would bow and arrow or some other stealth kill one guard on the roof. Then I would go sprinting towards the edge of the roof that I was on, jump up and over onto the other building's roof, run over, answer the radio for the guard, then bag their body, take it to a specific location, toss their body there, because someone else, at about the time that I got to the point where I tossed the body, they had already burnt through a couple different gates in the sewers, and they had just come up the ladder right near where the body came down, so they would grab the body, toss it into the river, and that would get rid of the evidence.
I was gonna say, yeah, I threw a dead body at my friend.
Yeah,
Like,
I tossed a dead body at my friend so that my friend could grab it and toss it into the river. And it was...
What are friends for?
Exactly. It was one of those games that the more that you played each map, the more that you knew exactly how to take on each map. So that was where you started to feel like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm actually getting this game. Whereas a lot of games, well, not necessarily a lot, but there's a decent number of games now that there isn't that level of growth. It doesn't give you that, fuck yeah, I figured this shit out.
Well, that is a great feeling when you actually do figure something out.
yeah.
Yeah. And the problem is that a lot of games don't want to give you the hard fail criteria.
Yeah.
And that was one of the big things. It's the reason why I much prefer Morrowind to Oblivion.
Oh, okay.
And
I didn't like any of them.
Okay. Yeah, some people just don't like that style of game, but to
Yeah.
me, Morrowind was superior to Oblivion because you could absolutely fuck your character.
Oh, okay. Yep.
You could come up with a character build that just does
Doesn't
not fucking work. And you'd realize that, and you'd realize that you couldn't take that character any further because you just completely fucked up that build. So you'd have to start again. That pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah, I bet.
The thing is that when you have a game set up that way, you start figuring out the build. And then when you get that first build that works, it's amazing. Because it isn't just, oh yeah, I beat the job that I was supposed to beat. It's, no. This actually fucking works. Good goddamn. This is my 5th character that I've made. And I finally have one that not just works, but works well. Hell yes.
See, I think for me it depends on the turnaround time. Like if I'm playing a 30-hour RPG, I don't want to get to hour 25 and realize, oh fuck, I've got to start over. Whereas
Oh yeah, if it's
Whereas, like
too.
a Hitman map, if I die because I fucked up a Hitman map, that's fine because it takes, maybe 10, 15 minutes to complete the map. So I'm not losing, ridiculous amounts of progress. It's like, okay, that didn't work. I can try something else.
Yep.
Whereas if I'm 25 hours into the game, I don't want to suddenly realize, oh shit, I can't win from here. I've got to
Yeah.
start over.
And that was one of the things with Morrowind. It did a fairly decent job of that because you would kind of realize that by level 10.
Okay.
By level 10, you would have enough experience to realize, oh shit, I have all my skills say that I should be a strength build, all my stats say that I should be an int build. This is a bad mix.
Yes.
And you'd be able to restart, and it wouldn't have been days and days and days of work.
Okay, that's better.
Would have been a long enough time frame that it made you kind of go, oof, when you had a build that failed, but it was a short enough time frame that it allowed you to come up with a new build and get back into it without it being oh great. So you're meaning to tell me that I just spent the last 4 fucking months playing this shit?
Yeah, exactly. This is not related to Morrowind, but I just want to my favorite kill in Hitman is in the Sapienza level, where the plot line of the stage is there is a virus that can be customized to only kill a specific person.
Mm-hmm.
And like the plan is that they're going to weaponize it, and Agent 47 has to stop them. One of the targets is like paranoid, and so he actually has a copy of the virus customized to kill the other target.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually break into his room, steal the vial of, customized virus, and, put it somewhere that the other target is going to go, and then she will die and it cannot be traced back to you. Because, like,
Nice.
for all they know, she just dropped dead out of nowhere. Like, they didn't see you do anything. She's just walking around and suddenly died. So, yeah, it cannot be traced back to you and can't be avoided. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like I was saying with the Payday games, when you learn the map and it starts to come together and you do that first perfect heist, oh good God, that's an amazing feeling. There was one. It's entirely accomplishment.
There's one Hitman level that I played, and I thought that I was going in. I'm like, there's too many people here. There's no way I'm going to get this done and hide the body and then walk out. And I think it was like the Chinatown level. It was like a Chinatown level, or like it was very busy level. But I lured the guy over and I choked him out, stuffed him in a thing, and I'm like, all right, what do I do next? They're like, just go.
Yeah.
I was like, that's it? I'm done here? Like, okay. So I just walked and just kept going. I'm like, all right then. Like, well, that was easy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, having that you can fail in a game and you can succeed in a game is what gives you that sense of accomplishment.
Yeah,
when
of course.
You finally fucking beat it.
If you can't fail, then you haven't accomplished anything by succeeding.
Yep, which is why people like difficult games. They like the FromSoft games because, again, kind of like Morrowind, you can fuck up your build in a FromSoft. And you can realize partway through the FromSoft game, there's no chance in hell that you're salvaging this. Unless you're able to do the effectively level 1 naked runs. You're not salvaging your build. But then there's also, you can get good enough that you can do the negative or the level 1 naked run
Right.
of a FromSoft. So there's this reward for playing well, but then there's also a reward from just learning your fucking lesson.
See, I like difficult games, but I like difficult games where I feel like I almost had it.
Yep.
Like I don't want to play like Dark Souls or anything like that, because the one time I played it, I just got so dead so fast. I was like, okay, fuck this.
Yeah.
But something like Super Meat Boy, where because I've played a lot of platform games in my time, it's like, okay, now I get how this works. I nearly made it, or like even if I didn't nearly make it, it's like, okay, I made it a third of the way through, but like I know what I did wrong. I can do better than that. And then so if it's something where I think I have a little bit of skill where I'm not just, well, I'm dead already. Fuck this. If it's like I have a decent run and then I die, I like that. And then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I know what I did wrong. I'm gonna do better this time.
And it's the old idea, which is something that is important to know, and I wish more people knew it, especially when it comes to education. In order to learn, you need to be held to the right degree of frustration.
Yes, I do agree.
And that right degree of frustration is very much individually determined. For some people, the right degree of frustration is they win 20% of the time. If they're winning 20% of the time, they're perfectly content to continue, and they'll get better as they go. For some people, winning only 20% of the time is a fuck this, I'm god awful, I'm never doing this again. And they just leave. For some people, it's they have to win 90% of the time. And if they win 90% of the time, they learn when they have that 10% loss.
See, for me, I think it's not a set number in my case. Like, there are games where I have a win rate that is absolutely dismal, but each attempt is engaging enough that I don't really have a problem that
Yep.
I didn't succeed. Like Desktop Dungeons is one that I will play a lot. If I'm doing one of the expert levels, I'm probably not going to win. Like,
Yep.
I've probably got 0.5% success rate in those things. But I don't care, because each time I play, I get a little bit better. I get a little bit further. I know what I should have done. Yeah, that, damn it. Oh, okay, I got to restart. But no, I know what I did wrong there.
Mm-hmm.
But there's other games where, like, if I have a win rate of 95%, it's like, really? I've got to fucking redo this? Oh, fuck off. Because
Yeah.
I think
And
it depends on how much engagement I'm getting from the activity.
oh yeah, it's absolutely engagement's a factor, but like I was saying, one part is the rate at which you're losing, because the greater the rate at which you're losing, the greater the chance that you'll end up surrender.
Yeah.
If, and that's where a lot of schools end up fucking up, because they'll have some students that they can't challenge with how they're currently doing things, and they have some students that they can't, or they don't make the class geared towards them enough that they get enough wins.
Yeah.
So you have the high achievers, they're completely switched off because they're bored as shit. They can't stand.
That was me. Yeah, that was me in most of my school classes.
Yeah. Because they understood it 4 minutes ago. Why the fuck are you still talking? Now it's an hour or a half hour later and they still understood it. And
Yeah.
half hour and 4 minutes ago and you're still talking about the same shit. Move the fuck on. So they just get bored. They switch off and they start not doing as well. But by that point, it is really hard to bring someone back once they've switched off.
Oh, I know.
Whereas you have other students that they are trying, and they're trying as mightily as they possibly can, but they still lose every time, and that just builds up this sense of why the fuck do I even try? All I'm going to do is I'm going to lose, and I'm going to be stressed and exhausted as I lose.
Yeah.
So they end up switching off because they're too frustrated. You have these two extremes, whereas if you tailored things to the person's degree of interest, to the person's degree of ability, you would have far more effective education, because a good chunk of the people that they're being left behind, you could set up the class so that they learn far more than they're currently learning.
Yeah, I think they need to go back to having different classes for different ability sets. Like when I was
Yeah.
in high school, you could do I forget what it was called, it was like Maths in Society, I think was the name of it, and
Mhm.
that was for the people who they don't get maths, and this
Yep.
was like the very very simplified entry level kind of stuff. Then you had 2 unit, 3 unit, 4 unit, and like 4 unit was practically university. If you were in 4 unit maths, you were like incredibly good.
Yep.
And it was like depending on how skilled you were, you went to the appropriate class.
Yeah, and this is something that absolutely infuriated me earlier this year or last year towards the end of it, because one of the things that I do, just because I'm interested in it, is I read papers in a bunch of different topics.
Yeah.
I find that fascinating. I like looking at data. I like going, oh, this data is horseshit, or oh, this data is fantastic. And one of the papers that absolutely enraged me that I read, again, end of last year, beginning of this year, was a paper out of education research that had the unmitigated gall to try to act like they had discovered something new. Because what their paper was about was the efficacy of tightly knit skill cohorts in education. So to explain what that means, a tightly knit skill cohort means that you have a bunch of people that are at the same skill level and very closely at the same skill level.
Right.
So one might be 1% faster, another 1% slower.
Yeah.
But they're plus or minus 1% around the average of the class.
Right.
Rather than having a large skill gap cohort.
Right.
Where you have AP students, the advanced placement students, in with the remedial students. Because there's been this trend in education of, well, if you put high-performing students in the classroom with low-performing students, well, the high-performing students end up being kind of surrogate teachers for the low-performing students. No, they don't. They end up getting pissed off. They end up getting bored. They end up switching off.
Yes.
And this research said, we discovered that if we do tightly knit skill cohort classes, the educational achievement and the mastery rate within the topics is greater for every level of skill cohort.
Of course it is. I mean, that's obvious.
Yes, exactly. That's something that is a no shit. It was known for hundreds of years. And I sound like I'm exaggerating when I say hundreds of years.
No, you're right.
It was quite literally hundreds of years. We have fucking documents from like the dark ages going, if you put smart people with smart people, they learn more. If you put dumb people with dumb people and you have someone teaching them, they learn better.
Yeah. But you know how you're saying you like looking over data and such. That's actually one of the main reasons why I beat tier at Pokemon is like there is a damage calculator. I will play with it for fun. Like I will just be like, okay, if I have this Pokemon and he has that Pokemon, oh, okay, I do 75% damage. But if I use this move instead, oh, okay, that's only so like I will just dick around in the damage calculator and like this is fun for me. I can't imagine Tier would have any interest in playing with a damage calculator, but It was like, oh, if I change this setting, he's not as fast, but he does more damage. And then I'll be like, okay, which Pokemon does this help and which Pokemon does this hurt? It's like, oh, actually, I still outspeed everything except this one Pokemon I don't care about. Oh, I'm totally making that change. You know,
Yep.
and like this will be fun for me. I will spend hours just tinkering.
Yeah. But again, the paper was reporting this as if it was something brand new.
Yeah. Oh,
When it was something that has been known for literal hundreds of years. And
Yeah.
the change away from tightly knit skill cohorts to the wide range skill cohorts wasn't ever due to improving educational attainment. That was something that they would argue from time to time, that, oh, the higher performing students would help the lower performing students. But the actual explanation of why that was done was written down. And it was widely known. And it was talked about. Do you know what the reason for wide skill cohorts was?
no.
It would narrow the attainment gap.
It did what?
Narrow the attainment gap. So when you have the close-knit skill cohorts,
Oh, so you
There's-
like have
a massive gap between the highest performing skill cohort and the lowest performing skill cohort.
so basically communism.
Functionally, it is educational communism, because what it did was it made it so that the highest performing skill cohort was just completely cut off effectively. They would get bored out of their skull and they'd switch off. The lowest performing skill cohort, they were also lost. It was only the middle performing skill cohort that would be even functionally progressing, which meant that the range between the highest and the lowest narrowed.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas,
Not a goal though. You shouldn't want that. You should want to separate the classes so that nobody is being, brought down.
yeah, what happened was functionally everyone was brought down, with the middle being brought down the least. But then if you do the tightly knit skill cohorts, everyone is lifted up,
Yeah.
but they're lifted up in proportion to their ability. So the lowest performing group is lifted up, but they aren't lifted up as much as the middle. And the
Of course.
middle isn't lifted up as much as the high.
But that kind of is how it should be.
Exactly. This is one of the things that drives me crazy. Anytime that someone says, well, there's a wealth gap. Well, finding out that there's a wealth gap is kind of like finding out that a room you've never been in and you don't know the purpose of increased its temperature by 4 degrees. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Fuck if I know. I don't even know the original temperature of the room, let alone what temperature the room should be. So finding out that the room increased by 4 degrees, I have no fucking clue. And I say this because when you look at wealth gap increasing, you can have a wealth gap increase due to really good situations. You can have a wealth gap increase due to really negative situations. You can have a wealth gap decrease due to really good situations. You can have a wealth gap decrease due to really negative situations.
I think the solution is give me your money. Then the wealth gap will be absolute, but I won't mind. It'll be okay.
Yeah, and that would be an example of a negative situation of the wealth gap increasing.
Well, it's not
So-
negative for him.
It's not negative for him, it's negative for everyone else.
Yes.
But the different situations are, if everyone is progressing upwards in wealth, but they're progressing upwards in
Different rates, yeah.
at different rates. So this can cause a wealth gap to decrease or wealth gap to increase. Because if they're increasing proportional to their current wealth, then that would cause an increase in wealth gap. Because the rich would get richer than the poor are getting richer. But everyone's getting richer, which means that it's a good situation. You can also have it where that decreases the wealth gap because everyone's getting richer, but the poor are getting richer at a faster rate than the rich are getting richer.
Right.
And the middle class is kind of in between. So you have a narrowing of the wealth gap, but everyone's getting richer. That's a good situation. So you have both an increase in wealth gap and a decrease in wealth gap, both being good. And then you have the negative situations, which are everyone's getting poorer, but at differential rates.
Yes.
And you can have an increase if the rich are getting poorer slower and the poor are getting poorer faster. You can have it be decrease if the rich are getting poorer faster and the poor are getting poorer slower. Both of those are bad situations. You can also have it where the rich are stealing income from the poor, and that's also a bad situation. But you can also have the wealth gap narrow by the poor stealing money from the rich, and that's also a bad thing.
I think it was in Discord, but the Yen Buddhist. Money is the root of all evil, so I will carry that burden for you.
See, let me quickly pull out my little notebook thing. I have a notebook that I write down things that I think of from time to time in. And I had a thought that was similar about that sort of phrase. It was power corrupts was the initial phrase. Let me quickly pull it out because I think the way that I phrased it was particularly good.
Well, we'll have to end on this after you get that.
Yeah.
Because
I noticed the time
I'm starting
as well.
to fade a little bit. So
Copy that.
We've been going
So
over 2 hours, so yeah, it makes sense.
I have my notebook. So it is a comforting notion that power corrupts because it spares us from having to admit we were blind to the darkness or worse, ignored it. Power doesn't corrupt. It merely removes external governors for good or ill. Because I don't like the idea
Power
that...
doesn't corrupt, it makes my PC work.
Say again?
Power doesn't corrupt, it makes my PC work.
Nice. But yeah, power doesn't corrupt. Money doesn't corrupt. It's just when you have power or when you have money, all the things that normally cause you to change how you act kind of disappear because you have the power or money to not give a shit.
Minors.
So if you're an extremely good person with power or with money, and you're actually an extremely good person, you're going to be an extremely good person with power and money.
I like to think I'm proof of that. I mean, I'm not like super wealthy, but I have enough money that I don't need to work, and I don't think it's made me a terrible person.
Yeah, you aren't an asshole.
Except on Quippers, but that's because I have to be. That's the rules of the game.
well, that's just a given.
Yeah.
And even then, you're normally an asshole to the right person. You're an asshole to Jack. So,
Right.
it doesn't corrupt. It just removes the external governors. The people that do creepy shit when they have power and money, they wanted to do that creepy shit when they were poor, just they couldn't do it.
That's true. I agree. And here's this ugly bastard.
So for a closing, I don't know if you follow these on Twitter, but Matt Herrera is running for Senate in Texas, and he's running against this guy.
How many times was this guy's nose broken? Because it looks like it was pounded completely flat, and I think I see like 3 bumps piled up on top of each other.
It looks like it's like abstract.
He's halfway to Voldemort.
Yeah. But so he's been taking clips of Brendan Herrera and clipping the context as politicians do, and so as a
Please
closer,
tell me he clipped the Shinzo Abe one.
no, but he took a few interviews. I think an interview with Tony Gonzalez, and then he cut the context out of it and made his own video here. And we're gonna see this part. if the audio ends.
Look,
Do you hear that?
I did not.
No, I didn't either.
look, I paid.
Okay, it's very soft.
Okay, let's see if I can turn that up then. Oh yeah, that'll.
Look, I paid.
Better.
Okay,
Much better.
all right.
Look, I paid minors to have sex with me. I'm a known neo-Nazi. I used to walk around with white hoods at night. Now I hunt around with white hoods in the daytime. I served 20 years in the military, but I served with some real scumbags. Look.
Nice.
So yeah, that'll be great. But with that,
Yeah, if you're going to splice someone else's statements,
yeah,
turnabout's fair play, motherfucker.
exactly. But with that, the zoo is closed. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night, all.
Bye, guys.